Welcome back to Mad Poet Podcasts. I am Alex Murdoch, the Mad Poet. Good to be here. Hope everybody is doing well. It's been a positive day so far, and we look to ascend, for the rest of the week. But hope you all do well. Yes, this is a special one, and one I've been looking forward to. My special guest today is 30 years and as an actor and a writer across stage, screen, and radio, author of Millie Roberts, which is the primary thing we really want to explore today. And this is your debut novella.
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce Mr. Joseph Millson. Welcome to my Poet Podcast. How you doing?
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. It's genuinely a pleasure to be here. I was just telling Alex that I really like the podcast. I've had to listen to a few, and I just think it's a beautiful thing. Picked some random ones and just went on some, train rides, and it's great. So lovely to be here chatting to you on this still swelteringly hot weather.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Some people say it's a gift, some people say it's a curse. Some people say I'm too hot, some people say, oh man, yeah, I could do with so more.
Well, there's no pleasing us British, that's for sure. I'm a sun hound. I love the sun, but it has hit the point where it's a little bit much now.
I suppose, there is such a thing as too much after you've had so much of it, especially being in London as it is, or England.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just give me a second. Let me share something with you. I thought I'll select this one because it sort of goes with we're about to travel these types of roads.
Yeah, please.
I'm seated like the clouds, waiting for the world to explain why I reign, precipitating. But always found myself waiting to condense now and then, but a matter of when until I'm drained, spilling through the drainage. A working mailman, deliverance was imminent if only I could keep my stance, for I never had wings, just the ability to float. The great analgesics was a whiff of the wind when the sun commenced to birth life in excess, feeling like the comet on its way close to a clash, pushing into the earth. Yeah.
Beautiful, man. Lovely. When do you write? Do they pop out of you when you wake up, or?
Once in a while, that used to be the thing, but these days, I've kind of got it down to the T. So whenever I sit down to write, that's usually when I just start to write. Really, they say write is right.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. I love it. And we're just talking about the weather, and that's just the rain thing and being fluid in life. That's the dream.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. I have my own take on this, but I'd love to hear your thing. How significant is the scene to tell, or at least bearing weight to who this character is, being Millie Roberts, and what to expect in the story? I'm speaking about the tooth. She seemed to have a situation with this tooth of hers, as she just couldn't let it go. And I just like, man, there's no way that's a coincidence. There's something going on here. He's telling us things. So what was that?
Yeah. Okay. So, I did my homework. So this book is kind of, who knows if it's unique, but unique in my experience of this. It's a novella. It's short. There's only 7 chapters, and she's 7 years older every chapter. Now, there's so much. I wrote this. I was interested in so many things, but there's there's a nearly true urban myth. I'm going to say nearly true because it's partly true, but it's not totally true. It takes 7 years for all of the cells in a human being's body to have changed. So you are literally a different being every 7 years, right? There's one thing, which is almost true. I talked to some really clever people and they said, oh, it's not quite right. But anyway, it's a lovely thing to think about. Then there's so many traditions and religions and philosophies and astrological work that looks at 7-year cycles. In the history of humankind, it's always been a very important cycle. And 7 sevens, 49, I'm not into this stuff, but I found it great fun to research, is the age of Aquarius. You're supposed to have acquired some level of wisdom by the 7th cycle of your life. And anyway, there's that. And then also at these ages, 7, 14, 21, certainly in early, they say, Freud said, give me a child at 7, I'll show you the man or the woman. That 0 to 7 are the most important years for basically knowing whether you're welcome on planet Earth and whether you feel safe-ish on planet Earth. And as a parent myself, I always sort of had in mind that these are the important years. Now, I was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they're the really precious years with a child for them to basically know if they're wanted on the planet, And then after that, they start really individuating. So, and there are really clear, when I did my homework, I already had this mad idea about this girl who gets this sound. Every 7 years there's a trauma and she gets this sort of weird sound in her ears and it's like an instruction to walk and whatever. But there are signifiers. At 7 years old is often the time your milk teeth are leaving and your grown-up adult teeth come through. And we all know there's kids and the weird loveliness of pushing out those teeth when you're little. And there's something and she hangs on to it, if you haven't read it, but you clearly read that chapter, and she hangs on to it, and it is like hanging on to your childhood, but she's come from a very abusive home she lives in. And then at 14, it's a common age, everyone has different experiences, but first full periods, 14 is a very classic age for that. A lot of women are younger. But so that for her in the second one, this trauma happens again. It sounds all heavy. It's not. The book feels more like a kind of Stephen King, Neil Gaiman world. I think I'm told it's technically magical realism is what they call it. So it's the world you and I live in, but there's something extra special and magical that happens that doesn't necessarily really happen. A little extra element. And I was just really fascinated about, I've known people very well who habitually walk away from situations when they're tough. And I wondered what the cost is when you keep walking away from things. So I turned it into a kind of magical book about this. And you'll love this, I think. The name came from, I used to live in a little town called Leighton Buzzard in Bedfordshire, and I used to go dog walks, and there was this weird mailbox. Even though it's little English town, there was this sort of caravan park, and the mailbox was like an American mailbox, weirdly, really old American mailbox at the end of the drive. And they had 3 surnames, 3 families in there. Clearly there was a family called Miller, there was a family called Rose, and there was a family called Roberts, and they shared this mailbox. But I used to walk with my daughter or whoever and say, what a great name for a girl, Miller Rose Roberts, and I wonder who she is, So it just grew. It's amazing where these things grow from, Some questions, some bit of homework, and then this mailbox just kept going into my imagination.
Wow.
And brilliantly, the letter I, so all the letters were there, Miller Rose Roberts. I've got a photograph somewhere I could send you. The letter I was missing. The I, the individual, the who she is, was genuinely missing from this mailbox, which also added into it, so there you are. There's a lot goes into it, and then you end up, like I've always said, you start writing something the joke is they say write about what you know. So I wrote about a 7-year-old girl growing up in 1980s Utah. What do I know about that? Nothing. But it turns out as you try and write about something a long way from you, you end up, you surf that wave, you end up picking up all the drudge and silt of your own life, and you go into the book whether you like it or not. So it was a glorious experience, and and it exists now, and people are reading it and enjoying it, and it's been a lovely thing. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's powerful, and I think a lot of things that you mentioned it just points back to me. I always think that, to write a book, man, you've got to be a great researcher, and a lot of these things is either experience that you've kind of cultivated over the years and just seeing by yourself, but also things to do with really just like solid knowledge, or just like to do with this ecosystem, or this place that we live in called, this rocky place that we live in called Earth, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It all coincides in some way, shape, or form, and I think that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, and also like the whole thing that I don't know about you, if I had a time machine and took me right now to where I am in 7 years, so I don't fill in the gaps. You just meet her 7 years later, each chapter. And I think if I met 7 years from now, there'll be certain things for anyone. There'd be certain things you wouldn't believe. Like, what do you mean that's happening? Or that, you mean what? I'm divorced? What? And 7 years before, you'd have never imagined that could happen. And so I think everyone is totally different. Everyone, if 7 years, or even just chunks of time, anyone's life is an adventure. And I think it's fun in a novella to get these snapshots, and people are saying it's amazing how well you feel you know this person in such a short book, because they're very intense moments in their lives, but anyone's story is the same. You could apply this exercise to her, and I had a lot of fun researching the years. So it starts in 1983, and it was a lot of fun, especially looking at America. What were the movies? What was the pop music playing on the radios? What was the price of a burger? What was a pint of milk? And what was the real life like in each time? It's been a really interesting, and you realise so much of it was pre-COVID, pre-Trump, pre-whatever, and then it's just fascinating. Yeah.
Now, I think it's interesting, even for myself. My thing was, there was something malignant or dark fighting to get out from some parts of it. It's like a struggle with the two.
You got it.
Something, for me, like an internal struggle, possibly something that is materializing. But as you just said, I would add something to that in terms of like the budding of the next chapter, like you're saying. Because it's appearing, it's going towards that 7 year cycle where the page is about to flip and she's about to transition.
And there's always something she walks away, she hears this note in her head, and it's like she becomes a sort of automaton. She has no choice but to walk away. And a lot of us claim with big life events, we say, I had no choice, there was nothing I could do, I had to do it. But I wonder, do we have a choice? Though sometimes it feels like you don't, and maybe we do. So as the book grows, she fights this impulse. But it's really interesting. And what was I going to say? I've forgotten. I'm interested in. It's just been fascinating. It's just been fascinating. And I've always been a reader and a book lover, and so it's just been lovely. So many years as an actor, which, for want of a better phrase, to be the kind of monkey, and now to be the organ grinder, if that makes sense. Because I've been so often singing and speaking other people's words, and there's something amazing. I think that impulse to tell stories was what was always there, but the quickest route to that is to get on stage or in front of a camera and go, we're telling a story. But the original itch the first primary itch is actually to be the storyteller. And it took me a long time to have the courage to really start doing that, I think. Same with poetry. I mean, your poetry is beautiful. My daughter is 24 and she's had one little book of poetry out. Lovely Joseph Millson. She's a lovely poet. Yeah, she's got a little collection called Clean that came out last year. And I have written poems, but I am not who defines these things? I don't think of myself as a poet. They come out like being sick for me. A poem will arrive at once a year, every 18 months. I'll literally wake up and go, oh my God, and I'll have to scramble for a pen and paper, and it's fully formed. It's done. It's like nearly finished, and it goes, and I have to wait for that to strike. Whereas with the writing, I turn up at 7 a.m. in front of my laptop with my notebooks, and I do a couple of hours work if I'm working on something. And it's kind of feels like a lovely, like, digging a field like a farmer. Where with poetry, for me, it's always been a kind of strange, mystical arrival. I mean, that's why I was interested to know about your process, about whether you have times of day that you sit down, or you did originally, and now it just sort of cut, because the channel is open, right? Once it's open, the universe knows you're there, so it throws things at you.
Initially, I couldn't just get up and just write it as I do now. What I used to have is just certain times where it's just like, man, I have to get this out. Yeah. And I would sit down, but I thought to myself, what if I could duplicate this process of when I sit down now and thinking that I have to get it out? What if I could duplicate this process, and then I could just select when I want to work and just do it, sort of thing. And that's pretty much what I've done so far.
Amazing. Are your poems published in collections at all that I can get?
Yeah, sure. It's published in different collections. I've just literally just finished a theme collection I had called Poetry Vent, and the final one was before.
What? Sorry.
It's called Poetry Vent.
Right, brilliant. Poetry Vent.
Yeah, Before I Self-Destruct. That was the final one. It's like a one of three sort of thing. And this was sort of like, you could call it stepping away from the precipice and just being more constructive with my, I guess, chaotic tendencies or experiences. Sort of like Miller Rose, where you sort of understand where the monster don't take the wheel anymore.
Yes. Oh my God, Alex, you got it. Well, that's it. In the book, there is this nightmare figure of the mother. We never really meet her. She's behind. In the opening chapter, she's behind the door. And normally in these abusive home situations, it's always the man. And this is 90% of the time true. But I do know personally, not my own mother actually, I have been very close to people who have had some really horrendous times with mother figures in the abuse camp, and it's not written about much, and so I didn't, obviously it's tricky as a man to write this, and there's no element of, but it's just sort of, I've known young females damaged by older females, and trying to delicately write that, but the best way was to feel like a 7-year-old's imagination. There's a nightmare sequence, and that's how these figures, whether they're male or female, they will haunt us for our lives. Even if she goes into the care system in America, this character, so she doesn't see her mother after 7 years old, but she follows her almost literally like a bad smell. And it is a certain smell of a certain cigarette actually haunts her through her life, and it is a process of getting back her agency, I think. So instead of feeling helpless, we feel like we're just tossed about on the waves of life, so many of us, and gradually to take ownership of your choices. I think that's sort of, if you want to get deep about it, it's also a fun read with a few laughs, but it is also about, about taking hold of your own life, and responsibility isn't isn't a dirty word. It can be fun. It can be really amazing to feel
Oh wow.
like you
Wow. I
own
can't believe you said that because yeah, that's it's very polarizing, that statement, but that's something that I stand by as well.
Yeah, it's fun. I find, so many people, the cliches are getting old's boring and the best days of your life are over, or when you're young, and what is it, youth is wasted on the young and all that. But I think getting older and wiser is rad. It is just actually feels amazing. As long as you've got a little bit of health, enough health to pretty much move around, then you just stop sweating the small stuff so much and you start working out what really matters. And I don't know about you, I used to have a lot of trouble with anger back in the day, and I did all the work. I did the real British Association of Anger Management, amen. And coming out the other side and realizing you do have a choice and how we react to things. Someone cutting you up in a car.
Absolutely.
It does not have to ruin that hour of your day, actually. You are the one in control of how you respond, and it changes everything. And I've had an experience of stopping feeling like I was tossed about on the waves of life, and I now have got some steering going on. And I think that's also what I was looking at in the book without realizing it till I read it. I have to say, Alex, I only really read this book like a reader last week, because I finished writing it. These things take so long to come out. I guess I finished a year ago at least, maybe a little more.
Yeah.
And it took maybe 3 years of fiddling around to get there. So it's been happening for years, but I left it alone once it was done. And then all this stuff happened. We had the book launch last week. I thought, oh God, I'm going to have to start. I better read it, I suppose. And I must sound like a right idiot sometimes, but
no,
I really enjoyed it because there was a separation. I actually felt like a punter reading the book. And I went, and it was the
It's like you're selling the book to yourself.
There were whole paragraphs that I do not really remember writing. They must have come out in real flow. And so when I now, with the distance, read it, must be like that with your poetry. Sometimes you look back on
Reflow,
and go, wow, hey, I like that. I don't remember writing it, but I like it.
Absolutely, that's exactly how it is. It's like, man, did I write this?
Yeah, great. I mean, some bits, there's annoyingly, there'll be a sentence here and there where I go, oh, damn it, man. It's too late to edit that. I might fiddle with that now, but okay, it's fine.
Yeah, but that means you can see the imperfections. That happens after a period of incubation period. Then you can really see, okay, this part needs to be more efficient. I need to replace this metaphor analogy with something better.
Or I've used that one a little too often. You get that thing, don't you? Like, look, I keep going for these kind of images. Maybe I can mix that up a little. But, there was zero AI. Any imperfections in this are 100% human and me, and I think that's beautiful.
That's the best part. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Now, this is something I'm looking forward to hearing what your retort is. Yeah. This quote: "Happiness is a kitten trapped in a cage."
Oh, in a vase.
In a vase. Sorry, yeah, in a vase.
Well, unless it's an American novel, so let's put that accent on. It's so weird. Yeah, so the character, when she's 14, she's unfortunately having a little thing with her teacher, but he's an English teacher, and she loves writing, this character. Yeah. She's feeling her first ever butterflies of love. And she knows that this man would want her to try and say what it is. And she decides happiness is a kitten trapped in a vase, in a vase. I don't know where that came from. That was in flow, definitely. I remember that just popping out onto the page, But I'm just trying to, in each chapter, Alex, I tried to get into a 7-year-old's, male or female, it is irrelevant, but a 7-year-old specifically, sort of syntax of thought, and then 14 is a very different flavor of how our internal monologue works when you're 14 is very different. And then 21, I really had fun with the whole book really, really trying to, and that was where being an actor felt like it was a nice cheat, because basically I improvised. I really got into the age they were and sort of played and improvised in my head like them. So that's how a 14-year-old tried to explain what happiness felt like, I think. Yeah.
Well, there's see now I'm thinking about what's it called, unconscious competence, I think the word.
Oh, I'm writing that down.
But essentially what I'm alluding to is, because it's actually bigger than you think, because there is I'm not sure if you're familiar, I'm sure you are, Erwin Schrödinger. His
yes, not deeply, but definitely a little. Yeah, Schrödinger's cat. Yeah.
And just the whole, putting the cat in this box.
Yeah.
With the poison or the radioactive thing that decays to poison the cat, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's sort of alluding to superposition.
Oh.
And superposition is sort of like the constant of three different things in one space, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, or multiple things in one space. So, if basically saying that, if the cat's in the void, until you actually open the box, the cat could be thought of as alive and dead.
Yeah. And it is both at once until we see.
It's both at once.
Yeah. Oh.
And so we go back to your situation now, which is a little bit different. It's a little bit skewed, because you say a vase, which is I would imagine transparent, clear, see-through.
Well, no, actually, I was thinking like a vase that you put flowers in. So like a china, like something, I never overthought this at the time. It just happened. But actually, like a kitten could fall into a vase, like an empty flower vase.
Yeah.
And a kitten is such a bundle of joy. So being in love is being like a kitten, but you're held in this thing. You're sort of held in something. And you can't get out, but you're just this joyful thing that wants to play, but you're stuck. And that's sort of what being in love feels like to a 14-year-old, in my imagination, having a slightly inappropriate relationship. It's sort of this joyful thing can't explode because it's having to be held and secret, I think. But Absolutely. Yeah, but I love that. It also has the Schrödinger thing in it, that this love affair is at the same moment a good thing and a bad thing. My whole thing, Alex, I have I could get a tattoo almost. My philosophy of life, the last 10 years, everyone is obsessed with, the world seems to be either or, right? Everything is either or. You're either with me or you're against me. You're either left or you're right. You're either black or you're white. You're either this or you're that. And I am all for thinking more along the lines of both and. And I think that's what you're talking about, is the Schrödinger thing. It's at the same time both good and bad. And so much of this book and so much of life is the grey area. My next project, actually, I'm making a film. My second feature film as a writer-director is all about this. I'm shooting it in December. It's called Animus. And it's very much about this exact thing. Lots of people who are so positioned. Yeah, man. Oh, man. When you look up the dictionary meaning of what animus means, it's amazing. It means three brilliant things. I could look it up, but it is... Shall I look it up? Animus is a brilliant word. And when I wrote the script first, and then I went, I think I'm going to call it Animus, because I like the word. Then I looked it up and couldn't believe how on the nose the meaning was. So, first meaning, animus, a feeling of animosity, ill will. Second meaning, an attitude that informs your actions, your intentions. So, your drive, almost, right? And the third one, in Jungian psychology, animus is the name for the masculine inner personality present in women.
Whew.
They have their animus. And then if one day when you read or see my film, you'll be like, fucking hell, that was a miracle. It's like, no one will believe I didn't have the title first. But I honestly, the title came out afterwards, and it is literally about that, you know.
Absolutely. And it brings me back to Miller Rose. We talk about the multiple. I can't help but sense there's a monster in there, but there's also an artist.
Yes.
I mean, even with the book, it says there's a potential for poetry there. You know, she's got an artist about her.
Yeah, she finds writing. Even as a child, I've sown seeds all the way through. When she was 7 years old, she talks about the beloved books she has in her room. You go, okay, she loves some books. In every chapter, there's a little hint. She's written a poem in the second chapter. Although it was plagiarized, she's very honest. She plagiarized it from somewhere, but it really touched her. And that poem. Do you want to hear a mad story?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, I haven't even had coffee. This is me without coffee, Alex. There's a little poem in chapter 2 of Miller Rose Roberts that the character writes, and I had a couple of published poems when I was a teenager, like teenage poetry anthologies or whatever. One of them, I wrote this 4-line poem. Okay, I wrote this thing. I wrote it, Alex. I wrote a poem that went like this: I cannot give the reasons, I only sing tunes, the sadness of the seasons, the madness of the moons. And I was like, I wrote that when I was about 12, 13. Here's the mad shit. When I then got this, I thought I'll use that in this book as the poem Miller writes. So I'll put it in. And my brilliant editors and publishers and everything were like, we just need to check this. It feels slightly familiar. I was like, what are you on about? I wrote that when I was 12. They came back and went, yeah, so that was written by Mervyn Peake.
Oh, wow.
I said, who? And they said, the guy who wrote Gormenghast? I went, yeah, okay. I did not read Mervyn Peake when I was 12 or 13. And I can trace back when this poem was published in this little youth anthology thing. So two things have happened here. Either I did read this little poem. Why was I reading Mervyn Peake at 12, 13 years old? I have no way of understanding how that happened. And it went in, I don't think it was deliberate plagiarism, and maybe 6 months later I remembered it, and that remembering felt like writing, right? Yeah. Or I literally wrote the same poem that someone else wrote. Anyway, we had to adapt the book and make sure that we referenced him because we didn't want to get in trouble with the Mervyn Peake estate. But it was the weirdest thing, and I to this day do not know if I by complete fluke came up with the same 4 lines of nonsense poetry, or if I somehow was reading Mervyn Peake at 12 years old. It's really weird. I was a reader. I've always been a book reader, but I was reading Agatha Christie and dinosaur books. I wasn't reading Mervyn Peake that I remember. It's very weird. Anyways, what the hell? I don't know what's going on. The universe.
You must have heard it somewhere.
Yeah.
Or, you could have originated the same thought as well.
It's only a 4-line poem, and it is a kind of obvious rhyme, but I must have read it. I just cannot comprehend how or when or why But thank God they spotted it. That would have been really bad news. And you know what? I had to add in then. I thought it was a headache. I was like, I've got to make this. It's not her own poem, but in the end, it really worked because she was so proud of her reading. So she said, I know this guy, no one else in the class, when I read it aloud, will have any clue where it comes from, but he'll know. And it became something even more useful, actually. Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. But like I said, I think sometimes it might not be original, but it is original because it came from me without an outside source. Yeah. But at the same time, you could be tapping into some form of frequency.
I'm absolutely unabashed about believing in this stuff, Alex. I don't like putting labels on things, but I know there is a thing called the universe, and I know it's cleverer than me. And I know that if you just turn up frequently enough, it's like a little red beacon going off, and it will go, there's someone there ready to receive shit, and it will send you stuff, you know. You must have had that experience when it comes through you. It doesn't feel like you're having to dig. It's just you're having to just like receive and put it down, you know, and that's the great joy of writing.
Well, I happen to think of myself as the lightning rod, not the actual light.
Perfect.
I just encapsulate the energy. I don't.
Perfect. Couldn't agree more. And that's the same with me as when I work as a director. It can look like directing actors and camera crews and everything is controlling a situation. What I feel like I'm doing is cleaning a situation. So I'm like, clear the litter so that things are as clear as possible so that lightning can strike. Exactly that. And then I get out of the way. Just get out of the way.
Absolutely. It's amazing, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, fun. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, so back to what I was saying, you know, as you know, I kind of go into deep dives all the time to do with the human experience, and I suppose, you know, just looking under the hood, especially a story like this, is quite compelling, and there's so many there's so much to see, there's so much to understand. With that being said, this character is dark to the point that there's certainly an artist to a certain degree. When I think about the poetry aspect of her being, was that purposefully or simply an organic development of everything coming together?
I'd say it was organic. I didn't have, what do you call it, a map for this book. I knew it was only going to be 7 chapters. The first 2 flew out of me, just flew. And the classic thing of not having a map, I then hit what you could call writer's block very badly after chapter 3, and I actually put it away for a year or more, and just left it alone. And then I actually made a film in that time, which I think you'd like. It's out on Amazon Prime for free now. It's called Signs of Life. I wrote and directed a lovely little feature film, very little poetic feature film. And it's really sweet, and it's about grief and kindness. And so I went off and looked at that, and then when I came back from making that film, I felt sort of ready to look at this, and my partner Lily and I, we joined this thing called Writers HQ, which is a brilliant organisation, super cheap, super friendly, super British in that they swear all the time and talk about tea and biscuits a lot, but they have a little program for next to nothing called Couch to 5K. And if you just every morning you turn your computer on, do their weird little exercises, they sort of guarantee you'll get at least 5,000 words of your thing done in a month. And it freed me up, and basically the whole book finished. By doing their they're sort of a bit like the journaling exercises, but a bit clever than that. But it just not overthinking, just letting, you know, the pen, actually, that was I'd been typing. And I do all my screenplays and everything on my computer, but it was great to get back to using a pen and paper. And I found it actually freed me up. It was hard to read it sometimes because I wrote so fast. But,
that's the other problem as well.
That is a problem. If you come back the next day, you're like, what the hell is that?
That's why normally I prefer to use a laptop so I can keep up with while it's pouring out. I just, you know, your hands can keep up with the bar, but to write with a pen, I just find it jarring sometimes.
Yeah. I think it was good for unblocking me, and then I got back on the computer. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know the computer's amazing, especially with screenplays. I write screenplays, and there's this thing called Final Draft, which, love it or hate it, there's no better version of software, and it is amazing because the thing just looks grown up as you do it. You read it back and you go, oh hell yeah, that looks like a screenplay, and they've got you because you're like, oh, that looks real. It's good.
Yeah, so with what I was just mentioning,
go on.
think I mentioned to you that I couldn't help but think that, there was a monster in her.
Oh yeah.
More a monster than an artist. But clearly that side of her was never given a chance to grow or to breathe.
Yeah.
Because she never really took the chance to really develop or write much.
No.
And I don't necessarily mean a monster in the sense that she wants the world to burn. In fact, she actually wants to belong. But there is like a window for this, in a sense where she's fighting against the clock before the artist comes forth or not.
Yes.
With the capability to give life, as opposed to the monster to destroy it or destroy herself.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. She eventually, I mean, she has in chapter, in chapter 4, she discovers, this is going to sound to anyone who hasn't read it utterly crazy, she discovers a 7-year-old son she doesn't remember raising, who lives with her. She has been raising this child for 7 years and has no recollection. So if you read the book, it makes sense, kind of. But and then I don't want to spoil things.
That's something. I don't
want to spoil things, but she then has an extreme grief later in life, ends up in an institution for a while, and then finds very simple work. I am a big believer as well in the power and healing of manual labor, of physically doing things.
Absolutely.
And actually, she ends up being placed in a very menial job when she leaves this institution, but it is a real help to her. And I've stacked shelves in supermarkets. I've cared for the elderly. I've done a lot of bar work. I've done every kind of job in between acting, and I've dug ditches and stuff. And actually there's something very healing and human about it. And from that, she then moves into, unbelievably, near the end, she might also go on a bit of a medicine retreat, if you know what I mean, the plant medicine. So she has a little dose of this stuff. And you combine all that, and you've got this person who's had this extraordinary 49 years, who then gets suddenly dropped in front of her the opportunity to write. Very deliberately, someone literally goes, "Hey, pen, paper, I think you should write." And it's always been sitting there waiting. And that's where it's a bit like me, this book, because I am 52 and I've always been writing bits and bobs, but I sort of sidelined it. Trying to become a working actor takes all your energy, and psychic energy and physical energy, to fight and climb that mountain, and then to find you've just got to somewhere up, and then you're back in the ditches and you're up, and it's a struggle and a fight. Writing is mine. Fuck you all. I don't need your permission. I don't need permission to be creative as a writer. And I think that's why it seems a cliche, but so many actors eventually start writing. I think it's a very natural fuck you to the industry, and the creative to finally take ownership of it. And that is what happens to lovely young Miller at the end of the book. Is she finds, and she's not about to try. And it's the same with me. I have no ambition as a writer. I don't want to win awards. I don't want to earn money, but you try and take writing away from me and I will bite your arm off. Now it's my lifeline. It's sort of like a scuba tank, Yeah, it's beautiful. And that happens, all of that's in this tiny little book.
Yeah, man, you cover so much in that book. But to what you just said, this is another part of it. There is a snowball effect following the opening scene, and I kind of, it's a large part of the book, this topic, but I wonder how significant is today's current climate pertaining to mental health for the overall development of the story.
Yeah, well, I think the way to look at, for me, I know this from theatre and great plays, the best way to look at the macro is to examine something in micro.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the reason so many great plays keep getting done. All My Sons, Arthur Miller, or whatever, Death of a Salesman, you know, it's just a story about a lonely, unsuccessful traveling salesman, right?
Yeah.
Why does it keep getting done? Because the best way to serve that is to, okay, so look at this one man who's unhappy in this one life. And by looking at something in particular, the audience cannot help but, that's the best. If you try and write something that's broad, you end up not really, you dilute. And I think the more you shrink down, the stronger the taste. So, I've forgotten the question, but I am on topic. I just feel like I'm drifting. What was the question?
It's about mental health and how.
Sorry. So in this, I haven't like been on the nose, but there is absolutely, there's certain, without being on the nose about it, you can look at this through the prism of neglect or abuse, or just sort of narcissistic tendencies, and what is the cost of those to yourself. We all know that narcissistic abuse hurts other people, but one wonders what the cost is to the person. And much as I love her, at moments she's not perfect, this central character. She's a bit of an arsehole at times, which is important. She's very human, and she can be cruel, and walking away is a real act of cruelty. It leaves debris behind, but it also hurts the person doing it, I think. And I tried to look at that with some compassion, but also a very realistic eye. And so I think, God, I don't want to be shot down in flames here, but I have 2 adult children, 24 and 21, and mental health is a real thing in their life. Like, it's like as real as the price of your bread. You know, it's whereas when I was 24 and 21, I don't think it was in the conversations. We were poor or we weren't poor. You know, we were horny or we weren't horny. We were late or we were on time. That was kind of what was going on. And now there is all this. There's so much more, but I don't think they're making it up. I think, you know, history, nothing changes. There's nothing new in the world except these mobile phone things. They have really changed everything. And I tried to look at that. There's a real section in this book where in chapter 6, so what year is it? But anyway, she's a bit late to the party because she was in an institution for 7 years without a phone. So when they release her, she gets given her first smartphone. And imagine only getting a smartphone 7 years behind everyone else. She's having to play catch up. And there's this brilliant scene in the book where she's, you know, and she becomes obsessed with the video for Childish Gambino's This Is America. And she's like, she cannot stop. Can you imagine not having been fed YouTube videos, and then the first thing you kind of see is Childish Gambino's This Is America, or whatever it's called?
That's a bit extreme.
Yeah, it's extreme, but it's also, she says she can't stop watching. It's like outrageous, but it's also like, it feels like the greatest work of art she's ever seen in her life.
Yeah.
And she cannot stop watching it. It's fascinating. And I think these things, what's changed is we are just, if we were sponges, a human life for centuries gets full of experience, heartbreak, love, you know, tough times, good times. The sponge of a human gets full. Now, the human sponge is full by 19 years old. It's full. It's at saturation level because of all the information. And so suicide's gone up, mental health problems have gone up, because the brain sponge is just like, give me a fucking break. I can't take anymore, and it needs to go and sit in a quiet tree somewhere and just, but you cannot tell a 24-year-old or a 21-year-old, you know what, maybe just turn your phone off 8 hours a day. It's like human rights. You're getting into my human rights, dude.
Correct.
You know, and I'm a hypocrite. I'm absolutely addicted to Instagram. I mean, no two ways about it. I'm addicted.
It's
all childish.
It's all childish. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's a different time, a different place, and sometimes you're right. She is very different. I think sometimes I just mentioned to you about the lightning rod.
Yeah.
Me being the lightning rod, and sometimes I just happen to, being able to kind of endure the lightning strike sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think about that with her, where she sort of not refusing to be just the lightning rod. She wants to become the actual lightning.
Yes.
And that part is going to break you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because we can't handle it. I mean, look, you like to go deep, so I'll overshare a bit. I have done plant medicine, the ayahuasca stuff,
Yeah.
And it kind of saved my life, but it is full on, because what you literally plug into Mother Nature, literally, chemically, you're plugging into the stuff that is in the middle of our spinal column. We all have it, and DMT chemical is released at 2 times in a human life naturally. The mother's spinal column flushes with it as she gives birth, and so part of the reason many women do not just die of shock from the pain is to do with DMT. And then as humans die, it's been measured that it spikes again massively in the moment of death. And if you do this, it's not a drug at all. It's literally a vine and a leaf cooked and mixed from the Amazon jungle that is the purest source of this. And you are literally just plugging into Mother Nature. But you talk about the lightning, there are times where it feels too much. Because my little frame, these cells and bones, the universe goes, hey, how about you experience everything now? Literally, everything that can be experienced. Here it is. And you just, I can't handle it. But you do get the only high that's involved is a very natural thing called perspective. Because the next day, you get the high of understanding how small you are as a part of the universe, but at the same moment, you're part of the fucking universe, and you get a sense of how big and amazing that is. And so it's both and. Again, it's my big thing, both and. And so that is, and I couldn't help but introduce that into this book. She gets a little bit of that, and it's very helpful. And in Peru, there's a lot of people hand this stuff out to kids at 5 years old in small doses. It's a very natural thing. And of course, the Western governments went, this is far too healthy. We must make this illegal. If this was handed out to every 16-year-old as some kind of rites of passage, I absolutely swear to God, you would recognize how groovy this planet would be. And not full of floaty people. It makes you very creative and very industrious and kind, and anyway, I don't want to get onto that, but the lightning thing, it's just the universe, man. I'm sitting here looking at a flower that and it is, I don't care how hippie-ish you kind of sound, but if you stop and have a look, this world is incredible. But we hear on our phones 99% of the time is just the shit going on. I try and follow good news channels and stuff, but they're trying. It's hard, because nobody's paying attention. Death and sex and scandal are all that really make people click.
That's the norm right now.
That's why I'm not joking. What you're doing, you putting what you do out into the universe, not just your poetry, but this, bothering to listen to people like me who can't stop talking, and
Nah, man,
and but it's beautiful. It is the universe experiencing itself. I'm not going to listen back to this because I'm going to hate what an idiot I sound. But you know what I mean? It's true.
You're good to go.
True.
You're good to go. And I appreciate that. But and to what you're saying as well. I've had a lot of time to think about this, especially of late, where I've just been trying to break down the science behind, what I do, not just to do it, but I like to understand
Yeah.
what's going on. And when we're speaking about the lightning rod, this, that, I think it's the commonality across the board. And I'm talking about people that are considered genius as well. I say that because you're not, right, for example, even the geniuses, and this could just be subjective as well.
Yeah.
But I say even with geniuses like the Einstein, they don't necessarily. There's a term that's called infinite intelligence.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty much, it's like a frequency sort of thing where that's what makes it specific. Where you're sort of trained, or you have this gift or talent where you're able to endure. And I think somebody like him is able to endure intelligence on a extraordinary level.
You got it. That's I've never heard it put like that. Shakespeare, Da Vinci, Tom York, Einstein, these people who can handle the frequency. You're absolutely right. And that is just an accident of birth, I think. Absolutely. That they can handle the frequency. I just wrote, get this, I just sent a copy of my book. Yeah. He may never receive it, but I just sent a copy with a letter saying thank you so much to Stephen King. I happen to, Stephen King has this image of, people think of him as like horror thriller writer, but actually, the poor guy is going to have to die and then wait 50 years, and then people will understand what an incredible writer he is. There are books of his where you can't stop turning the page, go, yeah, great. Oh, it's such a page turner. And then there'll be this paragraph where he will stop the narrative to describe the turn of the earth and what the spark is when two human beings dance. He'll just go there in the middle of this amazing narrative. And I have never read anyone like him. And so I sent him, I just today went to the post office and said, don't know if you'll ever get, I found out where to send fan mail basically, and I went, look, it wouldn't exist without you, and I've just got to thank you. And it made me cry writing that letter to him. But he is someone, again, who, people think he must be cheating or whatever because there's so many books, but no, he just turns up every single day and holds up the antenna and can handle the frequency. Yeah, you got it.
And that's what I'm talking about. So, it kind of, when I, we kind of, when I came to this surmise sort of thing, this conclusion, it sort of made sense to me, everything as a whole, why some people, especially people that do what we do, they're so grateful because you understand that, you don't create this thing, you just have access to it.
Yep, that's it.
It's
exactly.
a humbling thing.
Yeah, very, very much so. And I think that's why, as you climb up any ladder in any artistic world, the people who are really good are never arseholes. Have you noticed that? Because they've got nothing to prove. They're not trying to shout about anything. They're grateful. Almost down the line, the less insecurity comes from feeling like a fraud. And I think once I'm not talking about myself here, by the way, I've just met a few of these people, and they are just sort of grateful and doing their job, which is, I'll channel this shit, but it's not really mine. So and I think it's, you're absolutely on the money there. And what I'm going to do with the rest of my life is flirt with it. I'm going to flirt with the lightning pole. I'll be bold enough to say there are moments in this book where it was going off, right? But I'm not going to claim to be one of those people. But wow, it's fun to even dance in that room for a minute,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Same with your poetry. I'm sure there's just days where you go, holy shit, that was the full lightning rod. And,
Yes. I mean, when I'm going on stage to perform, that's usually when I was like, man, we're about to have fun with this, because now I get to share with people certain things that they probably don't know I've seen, or I can project, or I can reveal to them that they probably haven't thought about, sort of thing.
Brilliant.
So,
Brilliant.
that's like being of service. I think that's something I've grown.
Oh my God, Alex, I've loved this chat. I'm a part-time Quaker, and being of service is a huge part of Quaker belief. That's the main thing. Be of service on this planet. Amazing. Be of service. Yeah.
Amazing. So you know, it's like when I used to write when I was younger, because I've been writing since I was 13. Yeah. So over 20 years. But when I used to write when I was younger, it was for me sort of thing. But now when I write, it's the writing process. That part is for me. But once it's finished, I realize, you know, that's for other people now, sort of thing. It's for me to kind of give back to other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perhaps they can make their life better with it in some way, shape, or form.
Beautiful. What a gift. What a gift. Right. Yeah, brilliant, man.
So, it's a process, you know?
Yeah, completely. Well, thank you, brother. I've really enjoyed chatting.
It's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure. We don't have much time left, but I would like to mention.
Yeah.
We do have. So it came out. Was it this month?
It came out last week. Yeah, last week. Yeah.
And also, you're gonna have you're starring. Was it Monsieur Andre the 40th anniversary celebration?
That's my day job. My weird day job is that I'm in the Phantom of the Opera in the West End at the moment. I mean, how weird is that? Yeah.
Congrats on that, man. I mean, I know you've been doing this for a long time, but I know you don't take it for granted. So I know.
No, I don't. I'm really grateful. And really grateful. Yeah.
Appreciate all the success that you're doing. You know, it's inspiring to me.
Yeah, good. Well, keep going. Yeah,
absolutely.
Big shout out to all the poets out there. Just keep going and like with my daughter, she's always writing poetry, and I help me and a few other people. Like, please put a collection together. No. She does spoken word and blah blah blah. No. And I think it really changed things for her, having a little thing to give people, and you never know who you're going to touch. So all the poets out there, A, keep going, and B, just bother to put a little collection together. And anyone who wants to, go and sniff Jesse Millson's little collection called Clean. It's lovely. You can buy it on all the big bookshop in the sky and all that, you know. But yeah, and your stuff and write poetry. You don't have to share it, but it does you good to write it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Man, this has been a pleasure. And again, thanks so much for giving me some of your time. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thanks.
I look forward to sharing with sharing with everybody, really.
Brilliant.
What we've been talking about.
Brilliant.
But Mr. Joseph Millson.
Cheers, Alex. Thank you.
Take care.
Mind over matter. Overcompensating. Overstatements. Crookedness related. The soul's churn in return. Mental overstimulation. One word. Rivet.